So, welcome everybody. This time I won't mention the New Year's Day part. So we are here in the last part of Torah Zion, Bezos Hashem. These are going to be a few points that are additional points that are shaykh connected to the whole Torah that Rebbe Nachman taught in Torah Zion. Some beautiful points, some awesome deep ideas that are really cool. So in order to get there, let's just remember a little bit about this Torah Zion, and how it progressed. So the main thing that we said in the beginning was that Gullus, exile, on a personal or on a national level, is caused by a lack of emunah, and is all wrapped up in a lack of emunah. Meaning that when we feel like we're in Gullus, when we feel like we're in exile, whether it's personally or nationally, it is totally intertwined with an aspect of lacking emunah and not feeling that Hashem is there with us all the time. Not seeing the good, not seeing that there's a reason for why things are happening. Being in the dark, not seeing Hashem in the world, right? Personally or nationally. So then we said that there's a connection between these 3 or 4 items of tefillah and emunah and nisim and Eretz Yisrael. Prayer, emunah, miracles, and Eretz Yisrael. And we had this whole amazing thing about how they're all interconnected, because we know that a miracle is when Hashem goes above nature, when Hashem changes nature. Right? That's what a miracle is. Hashem changes nature. So when we have emunah, that we know Hashem can do anything. Hashem can change existence at any second. Every moment Hashem is recreating existence. Every moment is new. Right? So we have emunah. We know that Hashem does this. So therefore we understand, and we have emunah in miracles, that Hashem can change the current flow of nature. Hashem can subvert nature. Right? And therefore, that's why we have the chutzpah to be able to daven, to pray, right? Because if we didn't believe this whole system, what would be the point, right? So they're all interconnected, and of course we know that Eretz Yisrael, where Rabbi Yonah just came back from after being there for a few weeks, Baruch Hashem, we can feel the Eretz Yisrael kedusha coming from you.
Baruch Hashem has come back. Baruch Hashem is in Israel.
I'll say both. I'm allowed to say Baruch Hashem, he's back with us. I miss him. So we Eretz Yisrael is the place of miracles. Anyone who has lived there or spent time there knows that the whole existence in Eretz Yisrael is all on a much higher, more miraculous level than we experience over here in a deeper exile. And the opposite of Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim was the place where there's no miracles, no prayer, and just tumah. So, and then we said that Mashiach is only going to come when nisim are revealed in the world, and when the people who stop, there's a whole group of people who want to cover up miracles, right? Who want to cover up all the miracles in the world and say that it's all science, it's all nature, and it's all just, accidents, right? Evolution, saying these words on purpose. Because, I don't have a problem. Not that I don't have a problem. We have science. We look into things. We understand the world. We see things the way they go. But when someone puts all of their emunah in science, then we have a problem. Learning science, you can understand the world on a deeper level. Physics, biology, you can see amazing things, as long as you know that Hashem's behind it. As long as you look for Hashem within it, right? So I like to say evolution because, look into evolution and then see how it interacts with Hashem. See how Hashem runs the world, how Hashem makes things happen using these things. I'm specifically not on purpose saying a strong opinion on the concept of evolution. What?
Darwinian?
Yeah.
It's been proven wrong already.
Okay. Look into it and see how you. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. See how you see Hashem in it, right? Look for Hashem. It's a thing I tell my kids a lot. And it's important. I think it's a very important, simple, basic Jewish hashkafa, right? Is that we know that we are not the people who are afraid of science or who are afraid of looking into the natural world and seeing how things work, right? But we have to be conscious, the opposite. We're studious people who like to look into science and other aspects of the world. But we have to be aware, and we have to know that science constantly changes. New truths come out in science. And whatever it is we study in the world, whatever we see, we have to know that the main backdrop is the emes la'amitoy, the ultimate truth of Hashem. And how the rest of the world comes and interacts with that ultimate truth is our task to look into the world, right? Side point in Hashkafa. But yeah. So you have all these people that they want to cover up miracles and say there's no such thing as Hashem, no such thing as miracles. Really, all these miraculous events happened because of this and this wind and this gravitational pull, and this all happened at the exact same time, and right? Mashen Kain, a Yid is in the parsha, like we said over here, from the pasuk that said we found out that Eretz Yisrael drinks first, and it drinks from the tehom, from the depths, from the deep waters, right? And we said that tehom is a lashon of tehom, to be amazed, to be astonished, right? The existence of a Jew is to always be looking for and seeing Hashem in everything and being blown away at how amazing the world is. Totally being always amazed at all the miracles that are taking place. As the polar opposite of covering up miracles, right? This is the way that we're supposed to be. And then we said, right, this ad shetichla prutim in a kiss. When is Mashiach going to finally come? When finally the aspect, we're not going to get into the details, when finally this view, this existence of seeing Hashem in the world, seeing miracles, looking for miracles, living with emunah, and seeing the world with emunah, when that starts to be the standard way of seeing things in the world, that's when Mashiach is going to come. When all of those people who are covering up miracles start to see revealed miracles, that's going to be when Mashiach comes. And we said when Mashiach comes, we're going to go up to Rosh Amana, to the top of that mountain called Amana. And really it means Rosh, the top, the highest level of Emunah. When we have high levels of Emunah, that's when Mashiach is going to come. So it's not just, like a marketing ploy that people are now going crazy about Emunah in the world. Right? You have Rosh Shalom Arush, whose whole, let's call it an empire, right, is built on the concept of Emunah and spreading Emunah. You have other people from all different walks of Judaism are all bringing up Emunah, living. There's another sefer with a few halakim called, I think, living with Emunah, living Emunah maybe, right? Everyone's talking about Emunah, and you can't live in the world today without Emunah. You'll go crazy, right? You have to have Emunah. It's mamish the strongest thing flowing right now. So why? Because we're close to the end. We're almost there. We're getting close to Mashiach, and now's the time when we have to have Emunah, and it's just starting to come out, starting to pour out, right? People who never expected themselves to be thinking about Emunah, and to be sitting listening to me talk, are here and are involved and are going crazy with Emunah. Why? Because we have to. It's the end. It's everything's being revealed, and once that's all revealed, and we have a high level of Emunah, then we're going to see a change in the world. And Mashiach's going to come, and it's going to be amazing. But we said that we can only have emunah through emes. You have to have also emes, an absolute grounded source of truth. And where do we get that grounded source of truth from? Is from connecting to real tzaddikim, learning the Torah of real tzaddikim, and davening with the koyach of real tzaddikim, and supporting institutions of real tzaddikim, and connecting in every deep way we can. And following the advice of tzaddikim. And when we do this, we're like grounding ourselves in this zeras emes, in this seed of advice, true, holy, emestic advice that becomes part of us. We said this amazing, beautiful and scary idea that when someone gives us advice and we take it into ourselves, it's like being impregnated with that advice. And that advice then takes seed and grows in us and becomes something. So when we receive zeras emes, the seed of advice from tzaddikim, And it's truth. It's the ultimate level of truth. So then it helps us to grow in a positive way and grounds us in emes and gives us the ability to have emunah grounded in emes, connected to tzaddikim, which is the real deal. If not, you could believe in anything. You could be connected to tumah, to the worst spiritual uncleanliness in the world, and have a full heart in it. God forbid, right? So this is what we have to have. And then we said the last point that was made before the story of Rabbi Bar Chana is the tremendous power of the mitzvah of tzitzis in order to save us from the negativity of lack of shmiras habris and removal of connectivity to tzaddikim and all the negativity that goes along with it. So we said that in order to strengthen ourselves with the advice of tzaddikim, we also have to be holding in the realm of shmiras habris. We have to be really working to have purity in the realms of the sexual taiva as well, right? And tzitzis is, as we know, is the main mitzvah that's sort of connected to that. As we saw that when Noach came off the teva, and he built his vineyard and became intoxicated, and his son Ham went and did a terrible maisa with him, sodomized him and castrated him, and made a terrible situation. His two older sons put a garment on their shoulders, on their shchem, on their shoulders, and walked backwards to cover up their father. Meaning that the garment of a tzitzis is the polar opposite of pagam habris. It's what protects a person from pagam habris and helps them to be connected to the realms of absolute purity. As we said, the story in the Gemara of the famous Rav Amram who was about to do something that he shouldn't have done in the realms of this taiva, and through his tzitzis he was saved from it. Nura b'mei Amram, the fire in the house of Amram. Remember? That's the last step of the puzzle, is tzitzis. And then we understood how this all fit together in the story of Rabbi Bar Chana. And now we are holding at Oz Zion. So after all that, we're now going to see a few beautiful ideas that connect to this concept. And put on your seatbelts, because this is going to be a cool one. Okay, so the first idea is like this. It says, Hatfila. This is Hashmatais Hashayachim L'Torah Hazois. These are excerpts, let's call them, appendices to this that are connected to this Torah. HaTefillah hi bechinas emuna. As we said, tefillah is an aspect of emuna. V'hu bechinas hanisim, and is also an aspect of miracles. Ki nes l'mayla me'ateva, because a miracle is above nature. Ulazeh tzarich emuna, and for this, to something to be above nature, you have to have emuna kanal. As we said, just in our introduction right now, and as we said earlier in the Torah. Ubeshvil zeh hatefila mesugol lezikaron. And therefore, because of this, tefillah is something that is a very big helper in the realms of memory. Why? Ki tefillah hu bechinas emuna. Because tefillah is connected to emuna, prayer is connected to emuna. V'shichcha, and forgetfulness, hu inyan shahaya lefanenu davar ma v'nishkach ve'avad meitanu. It means that there is something in front of me, and now it's gone, it's forgotten, and it's gone from me. It's like it wasn't there before. V'hid haderech ha'anhaga, hiderech ha'anhaga al pi ma'arechas ha'mazoles. And this is the way that the whole universe runs through the system of the stars and constellations. Shemiznahed kaseder yoim achar yoim, that it goes and makes things go one day after another. So let me break this down a little bit. So it's going to get real deep for a second. Before, in this realm of pre-creation, we talked about it a few times, right? This realm of pre-creation, when there's only the infinite light of Hashem, only absolute pure light, nothing else exists, right? We said that in that place, there's the strongest aspect of truth possible. Because there's only one existence, that's it. Absolute emes. And as soon as other things are created within that infinity, paradoxically, and you have different viewpoints, different perspectives, different wills, retzonos coming together, now you can start to have this person sees something this way, this person sees something a different way. They both think they have the truth, even though they're looking at the same thing, and they have a different way of seeing it, right? But the multiplicity, going from absolute infinity and unity and oneness into multiplicity, makes the possibility of there being different truths and machlokes arguments, right? That's what we said, I think, earlier in this year, in this Torah. There's another aspect. In that realm of infinity and absolute oneness, right? There's no such thing as space. There's no such thing as time.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as time, right? Because what's time really, right? Without getting, first of all, I'm not a physicist, but in my limited knowledge of the physics of time, what is time? Time is essentially the relationship between different existences within space, right? In other words, one thing is over here and one thing is over here. In order to get from here to here, takes a certain amount of time, because you have two different things that exist in different places, right? Mm-hmm. That creates the possibility of time. If there's just Hashem, that's it, one infinite existence, there's nothing to gauge or to measure. There's no one moment to the next. There's no place here and another place there. It's just all one existence. So there's no such thing as time whatsoever, right? So it comes out, Rebbe Nachman says this in Torah Nun Aleph, this crazy idea, that time really is sort of an evil thing. Meaning what? Not that it's intrinsically kind of evil. Meaning what? As soon as you have different existences and different time, that's taking away from the absolute oneness of Hashem. That's the departure from that existence of absolute oneness. Because time is basically you're taking and making morning, afternoon, evening, January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. You're taking and you're making a separation. You're making different existences, right? It seems crazy to us to think this way, but that's what time is. You're identifying and making a separation, a different existence for each day, for each hour is a different thing, a different existence, right? And so now we have this tremendous multiplicity where there's many, many days, many hours, years, as opposed to, right, the absolute oneness of Hashem, which is truth and emes, right? And if you think about it, most of meditation, right, is to try and remove yourself from all of these different existences and connect to an ultimate oneness. Any meditation, I'm saying, Jewish or even not Jewish, see this wisdom, right? And we talk about this sometimes. It's one of my favorite subjects. That not being connected to the past and the future in a negative way, right, is one of the biggest gifts we can have. If we can forget about time in a certain way and just exist right now, not be upset by what happened to me in the past, not be worried about what's going to happen into the future, right? Not be drawn down by time, but rather just to right now, I'm an Eved Hashem. Right now, I want to connect to truth. Right now, I want to be a person of Emunah. Right now, I just want to do whatever I think Hashem wants me to do right now. And if I think about the next minute, I'm already gone. I'm not in this place anymore. If I get pulled down by the past, I'm gone. As opposed to being in this place of absolute connectivity.
We can learn from the past, not get pulled down by the past.
We can learn from the past, but not get pulled down by the past. Absolutely. Absolutely. But that means that at the time, when I'm thinking about the past, I'm using it right now for my avodah. In other words, right now I'm saying, I need to figure something out from the past.
Wait, when you say learn, you have to be careful because we talked about this. If you look back and question what happened, you're questioning Hashem.
Not question, but learning. Like,
Yeah, like you have to
that's
be
why
careful how you're learning.
History is so important, and that's why you learn from the past. Not dwell on it or get upset about it, but
even to say, I wish things were different means
I
I'm
didn't say
looking.
that.
No, I'm just saying you have to be careful.
I
when you
didn't
look
say I
back.
learned. Like,
No, I'm just saying you have to
I
be
teach
careful.
this to people, like
Yeah.
I deal with kids that have issues and stuff like that. So, for example, I try to work with them is that you live 80% in the present, 10% in the past and 10% in the future. The past, you have to learn from your mistakes, and 10% you have to plan for the future. But most 80% of your time, your thinking should be now.
Right. Very good. And even that 10%, I'm not living in the past. I'm deciding that right now my avodah is the work that I have to do right now is to understand what happened then, so I can use it in the proper way, as opposed to being drawn away from the present moment, right? By the past. That's living in the past, which we don't want to do, right? Anyway, this whole concept. This is all a little bit of a side point. This whole concept is talking about this amazing idea that segments of time are, the more segmented time is, and the more time exists, the further we are from the absolute oneness of Hashem. And within all this, we know we have a mitzvah, commandments to sanctify time. And we have to know when the Rosh Chodesh is, and when Yom Kippur is, and when Rosh Hashanah is, and Pesach. We have to live in time. That's the way Hashem made the world. But even within that, we have to know that the ultimate is when everything is just one. Right? And those things, and when after Mashiach comes, all the Yom Tovim are going to be gone. There's going to be a much more, except for a couple, but it's going to be a different existence, right? A different existence of you can only imagine. We literally can only imagine. So you hear this? You hear where we're going over here? So what does that mean? It means that the more I exist in this world, and the more I attach, let's say, importance, and I attach myself to blocks of time, the more I can be susceptible to shichacha, to forgetfulness. Why? Because there was something that was in front of me on the 1st of July, 1987. Right? And that is so many blocks of time ago. There's so much this world, blocks of different existence between there. It's like that day is gone. I don't exist with that day anymore. Right? So therefore, and I could say, if I'm very connected to this world, and I'm very sunken into time, and I allow time to really control me in a very strong way, so even the Torah that I learned 2 months ago, it's gone to a certain extent. Maybe some of it's really gone, completely. Right? You with me on this? You hear what I'm saying? Why? Because and where's it coming from? Because I'm stuck in this world. I'm stuck in time, and I'm putting importance on time. So many amazing things in Rebbe Nachman about this. We could talk about this for so long. So what's the answer, right? The answer is that the more I connect to tefillah, the more I connect to nisim, the more I go beyond nature, the more I connect to Hashem in this way, the less I'm attaching myself to this world, the more I'm attaching myself to above nature. Beyond the nature. What's more nature than the whole system of the sun and the moon and the stars that are guiding day by day and month by month, right? The more I bring myself out of that realm, the more that doesn't even exist. And the more that Torah that I learn and those things that I want to remember are just with me all the time, because I'm just existing as one with them. As opposed to saying, I learned that Torah 3 months ago. No. I learned that Torah, and it's part of me. It's with me now, because I'm elevating myself above daytime, above nighttime, above months and days, and above nature. I'm becoming an above nature person. And I'm plugged into, what Rebbe Nachman says a number of times, Rebbe Nosson says it also, I'm connecting it to Lamayla Me'azman. I'm connecting to myself to above time. And when I connect myself to above time, then that time has less of an effect on me, and less of a shlita over me, less of a rulership over me. Right? You hear this? It's not totally mind-blowing? My gosh. I love this idea. So listen to what he says over here. This, well, let's actually continue where we were, I guess. Let's finish off this a little bit. So, day after day, when the constellations are going day after day and making this time happen, hu hipucha emuna. The general nature of things is the opposite of emunah. Masha'en keni mamin sheyesh mechadesh The opposite. If I believe that there's a mechadesh, it's not just that there's a nature, that things happen one day after the next. Rather, that every moment, Hashem is mechadesh, is making everything new. Creating things right now. Every single word I say, the whole world is a new creation at every one of those times. Everything is the ratzon of Hashem, the will of Hashem, every moment. Every moment, He is giving life force and causing us to have an ability to exist. And He is above time. Now, there's no shichacha, there's no forgetting. Because I am connected to above time, and I'm not bound by the time. I'm connected to that every second is a brand new existence. Every second He is creating everything anew. So if I'm connected to Him who's above time, then I'm connected to above time, then I'm not ruled over by time and the forgetfulness that it can cause. And now we can see wonders in the words of our sages. May their memory be blessed. Gemara in Shabbos says like this: Mem v'samech shabaluchos b'nes hayu omdim. Okay, when the first tablets were made, Moshe went up to the Har Sinai, up to Shemaim, and Hashem made these special tablets for him and gave them to him. So the Gemara says that the Mem and Samech on these tablets were held in place by a miracle, by a miracle. Why? Because the tablets, they were not just like drawn on the front, but it was carved all the way through, like hollowed through the whole thing, right? So the letters Mem and Samech, they're both letters that are essentially like a circle closed off, right? So they have a circle like this, then with another thing in it, kind of like that, if you can see it. Does that make sense? Yeah? So how did that middle part stay standing there? Right? It just floated miraculously, the middle part of the Mem and Samech, the Gemara says. They were supported by a miracle, by a nes. So what does that mean? So he says, Ki mas mem samech mem, hu bechinas hashichacha. That is connected to the concept of forgetfulness. Val zeh, amur Rabbi Zenes v'nevracha, on this, Chazal say, ein doime hashoina pirkoi mea pamim la mea pamim ve'echad. A person who learns their learning 100 times is not the same, they're not similar to a person who learns it 101 times. Hear this? If you learn something 101 times, you're going to remember it, no question. If you learn it 100 times, not going to remember it. Says the Gemara, I think in Chagiga, is that where it's from? Yeah, Gemara in Chagiga says this. So what's pshat? What's going on here? This is very strange, right? So he explains a little further. Ki samach mem, this aspect of samach mem, these two letters, which are the two letters that of the luchos that were held in place by a miracle, their gematria is 100. Gematria mea. Ve'ad mea shoylet hasar shel shicha. And up until 100 times in your life, if you try to learn something 100 times, up until that point, you're still contending with the angel that is appointed over forgetfulness. You're still in this world. You're still being pulled down by the angel appointed over forgetfulness, who is what? What's that angel? The famous angel called the Samach Mem. There's a whole name that we don't say, right? We call it the Samach Mem. The same angel that we know is the Yetzer Hara, is the Satan, is the Malach HaMaves.
There's an angel that makes us forget?
There's an angel that makes us forget.
Where's this Rosh Hashanah? Zohar? Where's this Rosh Hashanah?
Yeah, the Zohar, Kisvi Arizal. Wait to hear the rest of it. So the Malach Samach Mem is the angel that's shoylet over shicha, over forgetfulness. And Samach Mem is the gematria. Samach and Mem, what's Samach? 60, Mem is 40, together they're 100. Up to 100 times, we are under the rulership still of the Samach Mem. We're under the rulership of time and of Yetzer Hara and negativity, right? So what happens after that? And this is what the Chazal were sweetening up for us over here. Mem v'samech, hainu, samech mem, Shu b'chinas shichcha, which is this aspect of forgetfulness. B'neis hayu omdim. They were standing there by a miracle, by nes. Ki nes hu hefech ha-shichcha. Because nes is the opposite, complete opposite of forgetfulness. As we said, nes, miraculous existence, knowing that Hashem is above nature, means going beyond time, above time. And when we're above time, we're removing ourselves from forgetfulness. Because there's no yesterday. There's no a week ago when I learned something. It's all now. It's all current. Right? You're taking yourself above time. So that's why those two letters, Samach and Mem, which are an aspect of Shichcha, when Moshe Rabbeinu got the Torah, in that place where Moshe Rabbeinu, it was part of his existence, there's no way he's ever going to forget it, right? He is literally up there above time. The Samach and Mem, which makes 100, which makes the Samach Mem, were stood up, kept in place by miracle. Because miracle is above nature, right? Because miraculous existence means prayer, it means emunah, and it means the opposite of forgetfulness. So you see, check this out. You see that with that the Samach Mem, that angel that's appointed over shichcha, forgetfulness, Samach Mem is 100. And the Gemara said the famous line that someone who learns their stuff 100 times is no comparison to someone who learns it 101 times. Who is the angel that's appointed over zikaron, over memory? Anybody know? It's the Malach Michael. And if you take Michael, you can already guess, and you spell him out, Mem, Yud, Chaf, Aleph, Lamed, what of course does it come out to? 101. So Chazal, the Gemara, this is a place where you get to see that the Gemara is filled with Kabbalah. The Gemara is filled with these wondrous things that people don't think it is, that people don't know about. They're not just telling us, think about it. I'm sure everyone who's ever heard this before is bothered by it. What does this statement mean? If you, there's no comparison to someone who learns 101 times compared to someone who learned 100 times. Right? What does that mean? What does it mean? Right? So we're getting... It's a very nice... Yeah, it's a beautiful idea. The musar behind it, right? The musar behind it is to say, going the extra mile, putting that extra effort in to make sure you can remember it. Meaning, even if you did it 100 times, one more, right? Today was the first of the many Siyum Mashas that was taking place over the world. The Daf Yomi cycle, which learns the whole entire Talmud over 7.5 years, is finished this Shabbos. Every single day, without stopping ever, one daf of Gemara is the cycle. And they had this event today in the MetLife Center in New York, New Jersey, with the whole entire place, like a big stadium, totally, completely packed full for the Siyum Hashas. Beautiful, amazing. The one in Toronto is going to be on Sunday, January 5th. But this is one of those things. It's like every single day, don't stop. And if you finished it, what do? And you had enough, you're not feeling up to it? No, next day you're right back on it, right? If you learned 100 times, you're done now? You're good? No. Only the person who goes to 101 times is going to be the one who's successful, who's going to remember. That's the musar from it, right? But the deeper Torah from it, which Rebbe Nachman is showing us here in such a gorgeous way, such a beautiful way, is this beautiful idea that shichcha, forgetfulness, is the angel appointed over forgetfulness that pulls us down into this world and pulls us down into time and pulls us down into all of those difficulties that the Yetzer Hara cause us, is the Malach Samach Mem, which is Gematria 100, and the Malach, the angel who's appointed over Zikaron, who pulls us out of Olam Hazeh, pulls us above nature and helps us to be in this elevated existence, is the Malach appointed over memory, is the Malach Michael, whose Gematria is 101. Right? So, with that in mind, who do we want to be? Right? Who do we want to be? We want to be in this miraculous existence. We always want to be looking for Hashem in the world, elevating the miracles, showing more miracles, looking for miracles in our lives, as opposed to covering them up. Covering up miracles and choosing to ignore Hashem in the world is turning yourself into a Samach Mem person. Chas v'shalom. That's a harsh statement, right? So let's move on. Let's move forward. Let's be Malach Mechoel people. Let's be people of Tefillah, Nisim, and Emunah. Bezos Hashem. That's the first point. Okay. I need a drink, 1 second. All right. The next point, Vida. Ki tzitzis shmira l'niuf. We said that this aspect of tzitzis is a guarding, a protection from niuf. Niuf is like a catch-all term for sexual immorality, let's say. And the taivas niuf is probably more shaykh, more relevant to us, is the desire to engage in those types of activities. So tzitzis protects us from that. Al Shem Shnehem Zeh B'chinas Tzitzis. And we said before that when Shem and Yafes put that garment Al Shem on their shoulders and went backwards to cover up Noach, that garment was tzitzis. So V'zeh, this is okay. So Shem putting the garment on the shoulders by the sons of Noach was referring to tzitzis, the garment that protects us from taivas niuf. V'zeh, this is what it says in Bereshis by Yosef and his brothers that we just had the last couple of weeks. Halo yachecha royim b'Shechem. Yaakov said to Yosef, aren't your brothers shepherding, pasturing in Shechem, in the city of Shechem? Why the city of Shechem? Why is that important? Why do we have to know this over here? What's the deeper meaning of the city of Shechem? Because Shechem is the same word as shoulders, and it's the same place where Noach's sons put that garment on to protect themselves from this immorality. Hainu b'chinas tzitzis. That means that they were somehow connected to the realm of tzitzis, the brothers of Yosef. Shehi shmira l'niuf, which is a protection from niuf, from immorality. V'hu b'chinas shmiras habris, which is, of course, an aspect of shmiras habris, of guarding of the covenant. Shehi b'chinas Yosef, which is Yosef. That's Yosef's whole existence. Al-Kain, Amar Yaakov LeYosef. Therefore, Yaakov said to Yosef, Halei achecha roim b'Shechem. Aren't your brothers shepherding in Shechem, pasturing in Shechem? Shu b'chinas shelcha. That's your thing, Yosef. You can go with them, because just like you are absolutely pure in this realm, and just like you are Yosef at Tzaddik, and Tzaddik is the midah of Yesoid, which is the aspect of bris. Just like you are the representation, and this is your main, I don't know if you want to say good quality, right? You can go be with them because they're also doing this. They're also in the realm of Shmiras Habris. They are in Shechem, where Noach's sons put the garment on the shoulders. They are also holding by tzitzis, right? So what's going on over here on a little bit of a deeper level? So, a few things. First of all, we know that that incident in Shechem, Rashi tells us, if we look back over there, that really, Rashi says that when Yaakov said, aren't your brothers pasturing in Shechem, that it wasn't just that they were pasturing their flocks in Shechem, they were pasturing themselves. And they were getting involved in all kinds of physical desires over there in Shechem, connected to this aspect of Shechem. And also we know that the city of Shechem, what happened in the city of Shechem? What?
Shem and Chabar.
Yeah, Shem and Chabar. So the brothers went there, and Dinah was kept over there, and they went there and they circumcised all of the males in Shechem. Bris. The place of Shechem had to be a place of bris, right? Just like Shechem. So first of all, we're seeing three places now. Shechem, by the word Shechem by Noach, when they put the tzitzis on their Shechem, on their shoulders, was a place of tzitzis, of shmiras habris, of purity. And we see now that the brothers were over in the city of Shechem, and Yaakov told Yosef, they are also pure, another place. And we know also that the city of Shechem was a place where there had to be bris, right? They had to go and circumcise all the men in that city. It had to be there. So this whole concept of Shechem and of bris is all interconnected. And the main thing that Yaakov is saying over here is that you can go be with your brothers, because they're also people of purity. They're also people who are careful with this. And we know that related to this whole Torah, the idea is that a person who is connected to, if we can't be connected to tzaddikim, we can't be connected to emes, to truth, we can't be connected to all these beautiful, this emunah and everything, if we are pulled down into this negative realm of taivas niyuf. Right? It's one of the ingredients. And that's why in this Torah, Rebbe Nachman says, we have to have this mitzvah of tzitzis. We have to have this aspect where we're trying and fighting to be pure in this realm. Whether you're a man or a woman, it applies to both equally. Happens to be that men have the mitzvah to wear the tzitzis, but the concept applies absolutely equally to women as well. And so Yosef, why is it Yosef? It's because Yosef is the paradigm of Tikkun HaBris, the paradigm of Shmiras HaBris. Yosef is the one, of course, he's the only one, pretty much, who is ever called tzaddik on a regular basis. Do you ever hear anyone say, what do we call Avram? Avram Avinu, right? We call Yaakov Avinu, right? We call Moshe Rabbeinu, right? But it's Yosef HaTzadik. Yosef is the tzaddik. Why is he called tzaddik?
Mordechai.
What?
Mordechai.
Mordechai tzaddik, yeah. There's of the Avos, let's say, right? Of the Avos. Shimon HaTzadik also. And they all have this bechina also, by the way. Noach is my favorite one. But of the Avos, it's Yosef HaTzadik. And what do we see over here? That Yosef HaTzadik, there's so many reasons why he's connected to this aspect. Yosef HaTzadik was which son was he?
Rachel.
Which number?
He was the second youngest.
He was
I think
not the second youngest.
he was the third youngest.
There are others born after him. But listen to this. I'll show you something really, really amazing. This is totally amazing. If you take the names of the Avos, and you know what? I gotta show you this. This is totally mind blowing. This is just another one of those things. I'm not sure if I showed you this before, but that you can't.
Which paper is that?
This is a siddur that's a Kabbalistic siddur, and it's inside the siddur is all these kind of different Kabbalistic kavanas from the Ben Ish Chai. And so has all these amazing things. So let me show you this. The story in the Akedah. Let me find it here 1 second. In the Akedah, there's the different names of our forefathers are listed, right? And second. Here we go. So it's just one of those things where the curtain is pulled back a little bit once again, and you get to see how things come together in a way that could not be written by any supercomputer. So it's like this: in the name Avram Avinu, right, is 8 times the name of Hashem, Kel, Aleph and Lamed. Aleph and Lamed is this name of Hashem is the name of Chesed. It's the name of Chesed. Here, so Avram, who was the master of Chesed, right, his name is gematria 8 times of this name Kel. Okay. Yitzchak, what was Yitzchak's main midah? Gevura, right? Which means internal strength, let's call it. So his name is 8 times Yud Kei Vav Kei, with the 8 Keilalim is gematria of Gevura, Yitzchak's name. Because what does he do? He's this aspect of Gevura, and it needs the sweetening of the name of Yud Kei Vav Kei to fix it up, to be mamtikit, right? But so Avram's name is 8 times Kel. Yitzchak's name, Yitzchak, who's Gevura is 8 times Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? And you go on to Yaakov. Yaakov's name, can you guess where we're going over here? Yaakov's name is 7 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. The gematria of his name is exactly 7 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. And Yosef's name is exactly 6 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yaakov is 7 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yosef is exactly 6 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. First of all, that on its own is totally amazing that those work out that way, right? But beyond that, Yosef is 6 times Yud Kei Vav Kei because Yosef is the Vav. Yosef is the 6. Why? Because 6 is the sixth sphera of the Zer Anpin is Yesoid, is the Makom Abris, is the place where he was the tzaddik. That's why he's called Yosef Tzaddik, because he had Shmiras Abris. And that sphera of Yesoid, which is the tzaddik Yesoid Olam, right, is the foundation, is that place of bris, is the 6th sphera. And Yosef is the 6th. Yosef's name is 6 times Yud Kei Vav Kei.
Was he the 6th son, or what number was he?
I have to double check, but yeah. I know there's something about this that I always forget to say, but this on its own, right? Yaakov is 7 times Yud Kei Vav Kei. Yosef is 6 times Yud Kei Vav Kei, and Yosef is the letter Vav. It's also Vav is the shape of the bris, and we had also the Vav. If you remember in Torah Vav, the last Torah we did, the Vav in the middle of the Aleph, which was the Rekia, and the Rekia was the letters Iker, which also refers to Yesoid. This is Yosef Tzaddik. He's the Yesoid. And this is why he's the person who represents this idea, and why Tzitzis is connected to him, and why he's the person in this story who's connecting his brothers and the mitzvah of Tzitzis through the place of Shechem to the Shechem of Noach, and it's all Shmiras Abris connected to Tzitzis. And this concept is what we need in order to get through, to be able to have this existence of Emunah, to bring Mashiach. And we'll try to get through this last one quickly so we can start a new Torah next time. That's one aspect. Everybody with me on that? If we want to get the high level of Emunah and bring Mashiach and be in that upper existence, it has to include tzitzis and purity, for sure. V'zeh perish. And this is also what it means, the pasuk that we brought before, V'anochi nasatich soyrek, and I will make you like a grapevine, soyrek, Zeras emes, it said, a seed of truth, meaning that all like a trustworthy growing grapevine. So what's the story with Soyrek? Kihu makabal tipei haseichel shal tzadik al yedei eitza shemakabel mimenu. It's because a person, when they receive the advice from a tzaddik, it's like we're receiving zera, seed from them, the droplets of seed. Tipei haseichel, it's the droplets of the intellect. So we spoke about this a little bit in the past, but without getting too deep into it, basically, when the Zohar explains that when a person in the physical realm, when a man and woman are together and the man passes seed to the woman, the origin of that seed is in the seichel, the brain of the person. However it works, it starts up there. If you want to just think about it, you can imagine that the whole process begins here, and the brain has to guide everything. The brain is what leads up to everything and makes it all happen. A certain doctor friend of mine explained that the brain is also what produces certain hormones that cause things to happen. However physically it works, spiritually, that union begins and comes from the seichel. So those droplets are the droplets of the seichel. V'zeh soyrek hu bechinas shuruk. And this aspect of soyrek, the grapevine that he's going to make us with zeras emes, is an aspect of the vowel shuruk. The vowel of the shuruk, which is 3 dots that make the u sound. Shehu, it's right under the word shuruk in there, you see? Shehu tflas tipin, 3 droplets, 3 dots. Kamesh kasav v'zoyar, like it says in the Holy Zohar, in Tikkunim, v'hu tflas moichin. And it refers to this vowel. Remember we said, the Tikkun Zohar not only tells us about the deep nature of all the letters, but even of the vowels. And this vowel, shuruk, represents the tlas moichin, the 3 aspects of the intellect, of the seichel. Kihu in Yenechad, what are they? Chochma, Bina, and Das are represented by this vowel. So, Tehu in Yenechad, and it's all one thing. Ki hatipa ba me'amoyach u'megia l'klayas, because this droplet comes from the brain of the tzaddik, and then makes its way down into the kidneys, shehu klei ha'ilada, which are the part of the whole reproductive area system. Shemevashli nazera. That's where the seed becomes ripened. Kein haseichel. So too, kein haseichel noilad gam kein b'moyach. So too, the intellect is given birth to in the brain. Umegia ad eklayas hayayatzais. And then it gets to the in the spiritual existence. It gets to the kidneys. The kidneys are called the yayatzais, the advisors. The kidneys are spoken about all over the Torah and the Talmud, not in a necessarily physical way, but in a spiritual way. And they are this aspect of Eitzah. The kidneys give us advice. The kidneys have a certain integral part in the way that we see the world. So it comes from the brain, the Chochma, Bin, and Das, these 3 drops, and it goes down through the advising kidneys. Utelas moichin hu bechinas, and these 3 bechina, these 3 aspects of the brain matter, are corresponding to this verse, which we saw a little while ago in another Torah, like this. The verse says, Hashmein leiv ha'am hazeh. I have it, the whole pasuk here. Hashmein leiv ha'am hazeh. Fatten the heart of this people, the aznav hakaved, and make their ears heavy, and ve'enav hesha, and cover its eyes. Why? Lest pen yira be'enav aznav yishma ulavava yavin, lest it should see with its eyes and hear with its ears, and then its heart should understand. Vishav v'rapelo, and then it's going to do tshuva and come back close. So this pasuk is referring to someone who doesn't try to connect themselves to Hashem, who doesn't want to be connected to Hashem, doesn't want to be connected to tzaddikim, someone who wants to choose death, basically, right? So the pasuk says, make it hard for them, make it so that lead them down the path they want to go, cover their eyes, make their ears heavy and hard to hear, and cover their heart so that they don't do tshuva. On the way that the person wants to go, we have this principle, but derech sh'adam rotze leilech, and on the way that a person wants to go, we help them on that way. They get guided on that way through their free will, right? So this pasuk is saying, if you're in this realm, so we learn from this in Torah Vav. So what's these 3 things that help a person to do tshuva? That they're trying to stop the person over there, is to have an eyes that see, and ears that hear, and a heart that understands. And these 3 things relate to these 3 aspects of seichel, of chachma, bin, and das, wisdom, understanding, and das, which I don't like to translate. Right? So that's what these 3 tipas are. These 3 tipas represented by the shuruk. So it says like this: Kleimar she'en roitzi ladabek atzmam letzadikim pen yir. So those people who don't want to connect to tzadikim, this is what's going to happen to them. Aval. But when a person connects himself to a tzaddik, who makabel mehem eitzah, and receives from them eitzah, advice from a tzaddik, azai hu bechinas kilayis yatzais, then it's in the realm of that the kidneys are advisors. Shehem, meaning a deep physical, a deep existence of advice. Shem klei ha'ilada, those are what help to give birth. Shem makabel hatipa moyach, that it receives this aspect, this droplet from the brain. That is split up into 3 tipas. Tlas moichin, the chachman bin das. And then what's going to happen? The person's eyes are going to be opened. They're going to see. Uba aznav yishma, and their ears are going to hear. Ulavava yavin, and their heart is going to understand. They're going to see with their chachma. They're going to hear with their bina. And through Chachma and Bina becoming interacted and connected, and the Bina doing its work to understand everything on a deep level, those 2 things coming together are going to make Ulavava Yavi, and are going to make the heart understand this person is going to totally have an integrated knowledge, an integrated existence with that advice that they got from that tzaddik. The opposite of someone who tries to stray from that. Shen bechinas hashloisha moichin, which are an aspect of these 3 aspects of intellect. So that's what this means. That's what this pasuk means. Va'anoichi nasatich soirek kulo zera emes. I will plant for you a soirek. This aspect of shuruk, which is the 3 dots, the 3 aspects. When you receive these 3 aspects of wisdom from a tzaddik, then what's going to happen to you? Kuloi zeras emes. It's going to all be totally truthful, life-changing, illuminating, elevating advice. It's going to become part of you on a chachma, bina, and das level. This is what we want to see happen. And the very last part. V'zeu perish. And this is the explanation of. Everyone understands that what we just said over there, right? Beautiful. V'zeu perish. Amar Rav Bar Chana. And this is what it means. The story that we said. Amar Rav Bar Chana. V'zeh ramaz gamkein b'pesach devarav. This can also be understood in the beginning of what Rav Bar Chana said. Amar li hahu taya. So this certain merchant said to me. That's the way the story started. Perish Rabbeinu Shmuel. So the Rashbam said, explain what's hahu taya. Rashbam said like this: B'kol makom, wherever you see the word taya in Gemara, it means soicher Yishmael. It means an Arab merchant. That's what taya means. So why? Why does it have to be that? An Arab merchant, a soicher Yishmaeli. So he says, Rebbe Nachman, Ki Yishmael hu bechinas hatefila. Yishmael, the name Yishmael, right, is an aspect of tefillah. How do we see such a thing? Like the pasuk says in Bereshis, everybody knows that Yishmael was Avram Avinu's first son from his, what's it called? Concubine, thank you. Hagar, right? And when he was born, he got the name Yishmael, Ki Shama Hashem El Onyech, because Hashem heard your affliction, right? Shama Hashem, Yishmael, the word Yishmael actually means that Kel, Hashem, Yishma, Hashem will hear me. That's what the name means. The name is tefillah. Hashem will hear me, right? That's what Yishmael means. It's no joke, by the way, that the Muslims have a tremendous, tremendous connection to tefillah. Very, very powerful, right? They pray 5 times a day, and they're very, very, from Muslims are very, very, very careful with this, right? It's very strong. And they have a certain schus, they have a certain connection to Hashem in this way. It's true. Right? Kisham Hashem, the Targum Onkelos translates this, Are kabel Hashem yos loisech, that Hashem should receive your prayer. Vehu bechinas emuna. And this is an aspect of emuna. How so? Vezehu, because tefillah, as we said, is already connected to emuna. Vezehu soicher, miloshen sichor. So in Aramaic, the word sichor means to surround, to be around. Bechinas makifin, to surround. Bechinas emuna, as we said many, many times, that emuna is somehow really, really strongly connected to the concept of surrounding, right? Of being surrounded. And we can understand it on a deep personal level. That when we have emuna, it's like we're totally encased in this existence. Emuna is everywhere. It's not just like I have emuna here. It doesn't work. Emuna has to be everything. Totally surrounding me is emuna. And the word sichor in Aramaic means also to surround. So Rebbe Nachman is saying, hinted to in this story of Rabbi Bar Chana, is the concept of tefillah and emuna. Yishmael, right? An Arab merchant. Yishmael is tefillah and sichor is surrounding, which is emuna. So another place where we see these concepts that we must have. V'zeu, last part. V'zeu, uparasta knafecha ala masecha, and you spread forth your garment over your what's it called? Your maidservant. Yeah. Ki uparasta knafecha ala masecha. Ki tzitzis de kedusha shehem kanfei ha-mitzvah. Kanfei mitzvah. Because the tzitzis of kedusha, holy tzitzis, are the corner garments, right, of a mitzvah. Hu shmiras abris, v'hu bechinas zivug de kedusha. It's this concept of shmiras abris, of guarding the covenant, and also of zivug de kedusha. That means coming together in a physical way, right, with holiness. Not just stopping from negativity, but coming together in a holy way, right? So what does this have to do with this? This is what Chagai Hanavi asked. So by the way, that pasuk, you spread your corner, your garment on top of your maidservant. That was Ruth, right? She said to Boaz, "Spread forth your garment over me." Meaning what? Like, let's be pure, right? Don't do something you're going to regret. Let's be pure. And in another explanation of this verse, Amma is also another word for the male organ. So she was saying to him, put your tzitzis on, make sure your you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Don't go into a place where you shouldn't be here. They were alone, right, on the floor of the, what's it called? Threshing floor. Yeah, and so she said, cut this off. Make sure that we're going to be in a realm of kedusha. And Boaz also, by the way, from that moment, he's another one who's called tzaddik. Boaz a tzaddik, because he also was able to withstand in that situation. And this is what the Navi Chagai asked. Hein yisa ish besar kodesh beknaf bigdoi v'naga beknaf alechem. Is if one carried holy meat, consecrated meat, like from the Beis Hamikdash, in the corner of his garment, and the meat in the corner came in contact with bread. This is a question, meaning would the bread become pure or not? Would it become an elevated status or not? Is the simple understanding. So what does it mean? If a man was carrying holy meat in the corner of his garment, in his tzitzis, and it touched bread. So what's the story over here? Ki pagama bris heder alechem. Because as we've seen many, many times, when someone is involved in negative sexuality in this way, let's call it impure sexuality, it causes parnasa to go down. It causes one's cash flow, one's income to go down. Right? Hedar lechem, and lechem, bread. Like we use this term nowadays. I got to go make some bread. Money. Or at least we did in the 70s and 80s anyway. I don't know. Do they still use it? Bread and dough? Yeah? Right?
Well,
So
the kids don't get it, but
we can still say it though. So pagama bris, straying in the matters of the bris, is like the opposite of parnasa. Like the pasuk says, K'mo shekosov, Uba'ad isha zoyna ad kikar lechem. For a harlot, a man is brought a loaf of bread, meaning to go searching for a loaf because of prostitutes. A man will find himself that he doesn't even have a loaf of bread, that he has to go looking for a loaf of bread. Meaning, this aspect, there's deep Torah involved in this. But when someone is very, very focused on taivas niyuf, it will pull them into this realm of poor parnasa also. We're not going to get into this because we're running a little over time. Last point. I've said that 3 times already, I know. Vateshev be'esan kashtai. So pasuk says that his bow held firm. Misham roitze even Yisrael. From there, the shepherd, the rock of Yisrael. So his bow held strong. From there, the rock of Israel. What's the story over here? So it says, I think in the, is it the Tikkun Zohar over here? Here where he brings this from. That the word Evan is made up of 2 words. Avan, fathers, and sons. Uvenin. B'chinas hatfila, Yaakov Uvanov. Which is an aspect, which is connecting to Yaakov and his sons, which are this whole aspect of tefillah. Meaning, Yaakov gave this bracha to Yosef, that he should be this person of tefillah. And it went to the rest of the sons. It continued to the rest of the sons. So Yaakov and his sons, father and son, is this aspect of tefillah. But Yosef is called the bow. So we said over here, brought from the Zohar, his bow, this is Yosef, because the bow refers to the bris, and Yosef guarded his sexual purity, right? So bow, the Zohar tells us, keshes is referring to bris. How do we see that? How is the bow, keshes, referring to bris? Because of course, by the story of Noach and the flood, when the flood was finished, and Hashem made a bris, a covenant, that he's never going to destroy the world with the flood again, what was the sign that he made for it? The rainbow, the bow, keshes. It's the same thing. The keshes is the sign of covenant, right? So too, Yosef is referred to as a bow, as a keshes, as a bow. Which is, of course, the big joke nowadays, that the rainbow is the sign of covenant and purity, and the rainbow is also the symbol of not that in our society, right? Yeah. No, I have a lot to say about it, and people would agree with me on it. It's okay. Segula l'chayla, a special segula for a sick person. Listakel al hatzitzis is to look at the tzitzis. Vasoid b'pasuk, and the soid is in this pasuk. Hine bincha Yosef ba elecha. The pasuk says, "Behold, your son Yosef is coming to you." He called elu atevos meramzin ala tzitzis. All of these letters, these words in this pasuk, are hinting to tzitzis. This, I believe, is from the Kisvei Ari, the Pri Etz Chaim. Tahainu minyan hachutin va'chulios va'ksharim. The number of the chutin, which are the strings, and the chulios are the way they wrap around, and the ksharim are the knots, are all hinted to in this pasuk of Hine bincha Yosef ba elecha. So we won't go. Okay, we'll go through it, but like this. This is beautiful. So we're saying that the aspect of tzitzis and the knots that they have and the strings and everything are directly hinted to in this pasuk that says, "Behold, your son Yosef is coming." Meaning what? The tzitzis, which their whole thing is to save us from the negativity and to keep us away from impure behavior, right? Is directly hinted to in a deep Kabbalistic way in the pasuk relating to who? Which one person? Of course, Yosef Tzaddik, right? And it had to be that way. Doesn't go with anyone else. Only with Yosef are all the aspects of tzitzis hinted to in this deep way. So he gives us a little hint over here on how it works. So the Tal Krichos, the 39 wrappings, are Hem Kuf Nun Vav Keminyan Yosef. They are 156, like the gematria of Yosef. So, if you take 39, I guess times 4, right? It's Kuf Nun Vav, which is the gematria of the name of Yosef. The Samach Goidlin and the I guess now, here we go. 1 second. So the four fringes, one tzitzis string is wound around the others, a total of 39 times for a sum of 156. The letters of the name Yosef also equal 156. Now on top of that, each of the 4 fringes should be a total of 15 gudlin. That means a gudel is like a thumb length. About 15 inches long for a total of 60. This is equivalent to the word hine. That's the gematria of the word hine. And the 5 knots on each of the 4 strings totals 20. The 13 loops on each of the 4 strings totals 52. Together, this gives us a sum total of 72. The word bincha, your son, equals 72. So we've now covered off 3 of these words in this pasuk. The strings of the tzitzis that are each woven from a minimum of 2 strands, so that the 8 strings total 16 strands per corner, times the 4 fringes, this totals 64. The words ba elecha also equals 64. So all of these aspects of the tzitzis he just explained in detail are hinted to in this pasuk related to Yosef. So the end of the Torah, I feel like at the end of each one, we should have one class where we just talk about it and just like discuss how to do it and how to bring it together. And maybe we'll start to do that at some point. But the main thing over here is that we want to be in the existence of Mashiach. We want to be in the existence of Geula. We don't want to be in this realm of negativity anymore, and darkness, and lack of emunah, and everything's pulling us down, and really, really pulled down by time, right? We want to be people of emunah and tefillah. We want to see miracles everywhere. We want to reveal miracles. We want to show the world miracles. And the way that we can do this is through adopting all of these eitzes. Be really strong in the realm of tzitzis, men and women. Be really strong in connecting to tzaddikim and taking their advice and having it become part of you. Being, not just taking their advice and allowing it to go bye-bye. Take it in like you're building something, like you're growing, like it's growing inside you, and make it become part of you, and live this advice. Connect to this tzaddik in this way. And then through that we're going to grow in emunah in a tremendous way, and our tefillahs are going to be tremendously stronger, and our connection to miracles are going to be tremendously stronger, and we are going to live above nature. We'll be living a totally different life if we do this. This is what this Torah is all about. And through doing this, we'll get to Rosh Amana. We'll get to that mountain that will look out over Eretz Yisrael. We're going to be there. We're going to be looking out over Eretz Yisrael. Mashiach coming. Rosh Amana. Why? Because of the high level, the Rosh of Emunah that we have. That's the way it's going to happen. Be'ez Hashem, anyone who employs these ideas, even a little bit, right? We can't necessarily always jump in and do everything at once. But anyone who employs these ideas a little bit, everyone I know who really does this feels like a new person and changes and becomes a totally different existence and sees the world in such a beautiful perspective connects on such a deeper level. Bezos Hashem, let's not make these words just be an intellectual discussion that we have. Let's make sure that we bring all these things into our lives to the best of our ability, and we'll mamish see that tremendous geula on an individual level, and Bezos Hashem on a national level also.
Also, this is theory though,
Yeah.
but practical. You have to use it.
What?
This is all theory, but more practical from the whole shir on just how to actually work on it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's an interesting thing, right? One of the things that he's saying over here is that we have to take the advice of tzaddikim and really bring it and to be part of us, and that's kind of what we're doing over here, is learning Rebbe Nachman and hearing all these things that he says. And it's so critical to be able to, every single time we hear this, to try and bring it in. And so Rebbe Nachman gave us a practical derech to do this, right? And it's so special. You don't see it in any other chassidus, anything else, right? Rebbe Nachman gave us Likutei Mohran to learn these deep ideas. He gave us Likutei halachas from Rebbe Nachman. He guided him to make it. What does that mean? It means whatever I'm doing in my life, whatever halacha I want to see, whatever way to behave, I go to Likutei halachas and I can see Rebbe Nachman's wisdom within that aspect of my life. And then he said, when the most important one, though, is this is the end to it all, is when you learn something, when you learn a Likutei Mohran, and you see this aspect, you must turn that thing that you just learned, that Torah you learned, into a tefillah. You have to take that Torah, and really we should be doing it as we're learning it, and after we learn it, make it into a prayer. And when you make it into a prayer, what do? You bring those things into you. And when you bring them into you, then they start to be activated. So we have this whole beautiful book, it's upstairs right now, called Likutei Tefillas. And this is what Rebbe Nachman wrote on each one of the Torahs in Likutei Mohran, wrote a prayer that corresponds to that Torah in Likutei Mohran. This is the practical advice. We learn Rebbe Nachman's Torahs, and we focus and we try hard, and like you do, and we come, and then we take it and we daven about it. We turn it into a tefillah. We do hisboidus about it. We talk to Hashem about it. When we turn it into a tefillah, now we're taking it from here and bringing it into here, bringing it into our existence. That's really the derech, and that's what we should be doing. I'm really glad that you mentioned that. And so let's do it.